My nightmare in Thailand, how I became a maid against my will. 7 years ago, I embarked on what I thought would be the adventure of a lifetime, solo traveling around Asia. Bangkok was my second to last destination, a vibrant city filled with life, culture, and incredible street markets. It was there, in the chaotic charm of the city, that I met him, an impossibly attractive European man. His smile was magnetic, and when he asked to take me out to dinner, I was captivated. He was charming, witty, and claimed to be on vacation from the US, not far from where I lived. It felt like fate. After dinner, he took me to one of the city's best clubs, where the music thumped in my chest and the drinks flowed freely. By the end of the night, I was swept away by the experience, the lights, the man. He called us a taxi, and that's when it all changed. He handed me a bottle of water in the taxi. One sip, and my world went black. When I woke, my head was pounding, and my body felt heavy. The room was dark, windowless, and unfamiliar. I was lying on a cold floor. Panic hit me like a truck as I realized I was alone, trapped in what seemed to be a basement. I screamed for help, banging on the walls with all my might. Hours passed. Finally, a man entered, but it wasn't the one I had gone out with. This man was tall and slim, his face expressionless as he silently handed me a plate of food, plain rice and some kind of meat. I demanded to know where I was, what had happened to the man from the night before, but he just left without a word. Silence swallowed me again. For days, I was left alone in that cold, dark room. Time passed in a blur. Men would come in, inspect me as if I were livestock, checking my teeth, searching every inch of me. I couldn't fight back. I was too terrified. They spoke in a language I didn't understand, likely Thai. They left me alone again after their disturbing examination. The silence was unbearable. I was left to sit on the floor, hugging my knees, trying to make sense of how I ended up there. Would I ever see my family again? Was I going to die in this room? Days turned into an agonizing blur of isolation, interrupted only by the occasional visit from the slim man bringing me food. Then, one day, everything changed. I woke up, but I wasn't in the basement anymore. I was lying in a luxurious bed draped in silk sheets. The room around me was massive, with high ceilings and classic art hanging on the walls. A large fireplace crackled quietly in the corner, casting shadows across the room. Sitting in an armchair by the fire was a man I had never seen before. I bolted from the bed, running towards the door, but it was locked. My screams for help echoed through the room, but the man didn't flinch. He simply watched me with an unsettling calm. After a while, he spoke, his English broken, but clear enough for me to understand. "I bought you." "Bought me?" He explained that I was now his maid. He promised me a comfortable life, plenty of food, my own room, but I would have to serve him and the other women who worked for him. I wasn't the only one. There were 5 other maids, all young women like me, who seemed disturbingly happy with their situation. At first, I fought against it. I tried to talk to the other girls, hoping to find some ally who wanted to escape as much as I did, but each one assured me that they were content, even grateful to this man for taking them in. Their smiles were eerie, their eyes empty. I didn't know if they were brainwashed or if they had simply given up. Days became weeks, and I realized that resistance wasn't an option. I obeyed. I cooked, I cleaned, I did everything he asked, and over time, I became his favorite. He trusted me enough to allow me into his private study, a room no one else could enter. It was in that study, after a year of servitude, that I found my lifeline, a cell phone. The phone was hidden in the drawer of his desk. My heart raced as I saw it, and I hesitated at first, unsure if it was a trap, but I couldn't let the chance slip away. A few days later, I opened it. No passcode. I had to act fast. The signal was weak, flickering in and out, but I managed to send a message to someone in the US, begging for help. For weeks, I kept up the charade. I continued to serve him while secretly checking the phone for any response. The man watched me closely, but I forced myself to stay calm, to pretend everything was normal. Every day, I wondered if today would be the day I was rescued, or the day he discovered what I had done. Then, one morning, I heard the sound of sirens in the distance. I watched from a window as police cars pulled up to the mansion. My heart soared, but I kept my composure, pretending to dust as officers stormed in. The man was furious, arguing with them, insisting that he had done nothing wrong. He truly believed he owned us. One of the officers approached me quietly and told me it was time to go. I felt a rush of relief so strong I thought I might collapse. As they escorted me past the man, he looked at me with a mixture of betrayal and confusion, as if he couldn't understand how I could leave him. The next thing I knew, I was on a plane back to the US, still in shock from the whirlwind of events. I had been held captive for over a year, forced into servitude, but I was free now. Reuniting with my family was surreal. Life would never be the same, but every day felt like a second chance, a gift I would never take for granted again.